Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vibrantly Healthy Mom Show. I'm so glad to have you here with me today. My name is Laura Bostrom, for those of you who have not stopped by before, and I am here every week to bring you some tips and ideas of how you can live a more vibrantly healthy life as a mom. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can find freedom for your body to function at its best so that you don't have to feel like you're constantly being chased by a bear. But before we get into that, I would just love to ask you to let me know that you're here. Whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, comment below and just let me know where you're tuning in from. Introduce yourself, or if you would like to, just simply give me a thumbs up or a heart to let me know that you have stopped by. So with that, let's dive right into our topic. Because don't we all want to feel our best, to have our bodies functioning at their best so that we can do everything that we have to do and all the things that we love to do? And who wants to be feeling like they're being chased by a bear all the time? So as a child, I remember distinctly being, I was really kind of like a scaredy cat. It seemed like for whatever reason, I was one of those little kids that was, it seemed like scared of the things that went bump in the night, like to an extreme. I remember being scared to just go down the hallway in the middle of the day to my bedroom, and the basement was like a really scary place. But I can distinctly remember being outside playing with my friends, and then suddenly, before I knew it, it would be getting dark outside, and then I had to find my way home. And in our neighborhood, it was kind of like a U-shaped road, and we lived on one side of that U, and one of my really good friends lived on the other side. And in between there, down at the bottom of the U, there was a woods, a deep, dark, wooded area. And that's the direction I had to go to get back to my house. So if I was over at her house playing, and it was time for me to go home and it was dark outside, it terrified me to go by the woods because I had this fear that somebody was going to kidnap me. I think when I was a certain age, I had seen an article in the newspaper, a story about a child who had been kidnapped, and that just left this lasting impression on me, like, oh my word, this is going to happen to me. I'm going to be kidnapped. So I would get on my bike. I always made sure I took my bike because I could get home faster that way instead of having to walk by the woods. And so I would get on my bike, and oh my word, I just remember my heart racing and just my legs were pumping so fast. It was incredible how quick I could go. And then on the other side of the woods, like before I really got away from it, I had a big hill to go up, and I could go up that hill so fast because I just had so much power in my legs. I was so scared. I remember another time being over, a bunch of us were outside playing, and I remember being on a side of our house where there were some bushes, and it was dark out again, and I remember hearing somebody like crawling around in the bushes, like the leaves were rustling, and oh my word, that scared me half to death. I was all by myself. I don't know where else. We would play like hide and seek in the neighborhood sometimes, or different things like that, but none of the other kids were around. They were like in somebody else's yard, and I heard that noise, and just like that, I felt like as light as a feather. I took off running faster than I think I'd ever run in my life. And I thought to myself, I think to myself now, why couldn't I run like that when I was like in a race or something? It never quite seemed to work out the same way. But man, my legs carried me away from that area so incredibly fast. And I'm sure that you can put yourself in some situations where you have had similar experiences. Not that you were as scared as I am, because like I said, I was an exceptionally kind of a scaredy cat kind of a kid. But I even remember some times when our children were young where I had a situation that put my body in a place where it was like a reaction to a situation. One of them I remember being at Disney World, and I think he was probably about 2 at the time, very adventuresome son of ours, number 2 son. We were standing by whoever's been at Disney World before. We were in the Magic Kingdom near the Haunted Mansion, and there was this big garden area, like huge, like there were lots and lots of people around, just like you'd expect anytime at Disney World. And I don't know, we turned our backs for just a second, and Paul was gone. He was like gone. He was not anywhere around. And Prior to that, I was feeling hungry, ready to eat, and just relaxed. And just like that, it's like I wasn't hungry anymore. And all of my everything was like, we have got to find Paul. Where the heck did he go? And so it's like my heart's racing again, and my palms are sweating. And I'm like, where is he? Where is he? We got to find him. We're running around asking everybody. I had this energy that I didn't have prior to that when I was just relaxed, enjoying the outdoors and the gardens and watching everybody do their thing. So, and there was another time where another one of our sons, all of a sudden in the middle of the day, he came up missing. He was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. And again, scared like crazy, and everything else, nothing mattered anymore. And all of my energy went into, I needed to find him. Well, I found out that he had left the house with his dad in the car. Somebody was supposed to tell me. They forgot. And I, of course, I probably thought he'd been kidnapped. So anyway, like I said, I'm sure that each of you can think of a situation yourself where your body had that kind of reaction, where you felt that, just that surge of like fear or whatever emotion. It could be anger, fear, whatever, where your heart is racing and everything changes in your body. And basically what we're talking about here is the fight or flight mode. And it's put in our bodies as a form of protection to help us out. And basically, what the fight or flight is doing is it's activating what we call the sympathetic nervous system in our bodies. We have the parasympathetic and we have the sympathetic. The parasympathetic is more the rest and digest type of kind of mode that we can be in. But the sympathetic is what gets all of that going. It increases our heart rate. Our breathing increases, so we're breathing faster. Our blood pressure goes up. Things like our pupils even dilate, so we can see better, so that we can, navigate the situation better. Trembling occurs. Our digestion slows, because here's the thing. If we are in a situation where we are threatened in whatever kind of a way, we need to have that blood flow going to our legs, to our arms, everything to get us going, to give us that extra energy to get moving. And basically, when we're in this fight or flight mode, it's the blood sugar in our body and the fat, all those extra stores within our body of those things are drawn on in order to give us the extra power that we need. Now, this type of thing came in super handy for our ancestors long ago when they were, having to be out hunting, and they didn't have quite the protection that we have. Like I think about where I live. I can go out in my neighborhood and I can take a walk. I don't have to worry about running into a bear. I don't have to be concerned that a lion is going to walk across the street in front of me and then attack me. So it's not as much of a situation today, but here's the thing. There are so many things in our life today, with all the hustle and bustle and the demands that there are on us, where our bodies really don't know that we're not being chased by a bear or a lion. If, for example, you are hurrying around because you have to get to a meeting on time, or get your children to, soccer practice or whatever, and you're trying to finish something up, or you've got your other children that are needing to finish up with their lunch, and you got to hurry with that, and you're stressed out. The thing is your body has no idea that that's coming from something as simple as that, compared to being chased by a bear. It's going to react exactly the same way. Your physiological functions of that sympathetic nervous system are going to do the same exact thing that they would if you were being chased by a bear. Now, there's not a threat. Your life is not threatened when you're having to get your children to soccer practice on time. It's not a matter of life and death, right? It's a matter of you're just stressed out because you don't want to be late, you don't want the coach upset, or you don't want your child to be upset that they didn't get there on time, or whatever. But you're putting that stress on your body all the same, where the parasympathetic nervous system, which is, again, remember what I called it, the rest and digest mode, that's getting turned off and you're switching on instead automatically. This all happens automatically. When our bodies feel stressed, these things automatically happen. So that sympathetic nervous system gets switched on, and you're in that fight or flight. And the thing is once we get in that fight or flight, it stays on for a while. It doesn't just shut off. It can turn on that fast, like within seconds. But when it comes to shutting off, it can take 20, 30 minutes for your body to calm down and be in a state of being able to just get back into that, that parasympathetic nervous system functioning. Now, the problem is if you're like hurrying about and you're trying to like cram your lunch down your throat when you're stressed out, what's going to happen? You're not going to digest that food properly because all of your blood flow is going to your limbs to help you to run, because your body has the understanding you're under a stress where you need to be able to flee a situation, and it's not thinking anything about needing to digest food. So, if you're somebody that feels like you have digestive problems, or like you put food in and it does nothing for you, you don't get the energy you need from it, maybe that food isn't even getting assimilated into your body like it needs to, and maybe it's because you're in a situation like this. You see, you can end up being in a chronic fight or flight situation. I know I have been there. I know that for a long time, that is where my body just stayed because of circumstances that I had been in. I was stuck in that mode, and I had lots and lots of digestive troubles as a result. Not to mention all the other kinds of things. I mean, not only can you have poor digestion, but you can be exhausted, just be like incredibly fatigued as a result of being in the fight or flight mode on a continual basis. Your metabolism can end up being slowed. And so if you're somebody that's been trying to lose weight, for example, and you're always in this fight or flight mode, this could be a contributing factor. And you may want to consider figuring out what you can do to get it shut off, to get that calmed down. It can also lead to a poor immune system response, which aren't we all concerned, especially today, with having a good, strong immune system? I think so. So making sure that you are having that fight or flight turned off and only on when it's absolutely necessary, because remember, it is a good thing. It's there for us, for our protection. But we only want that switching on when we really need it to be. The other thing is we can have difficulty with our thinking. Our thinking cannot work so well when we are in that fight or flight mode. And we can just have a general ill feeling. So what can we do to get that to turn off and instead be functioning with our parasympathetic nervous systems in an operating condition, so that we're in that rest and digest mode? And it has that nickname, so to speak, for a reason, because think about it. If we are not in that fight or flight where we're having to be ready to, be able to flee something and to protect our life, then the blood flow is going to be going to where it needs to be, like into our digestive system to digest the food. So that's why it's called the rest and digest mode. That's what the parasympathetic system is. So what can we do? Well, there are several different things that you can do, and one of them that can work so incredibly fast, and you can trick your body if you are in that situation where you're hurrying to cram that lunch down so that you can get on a meeting or get your children to practice or whatever. You can trick your body if it's already like started to go in that direction of being in a fight or flight mode. You can trick it into thinking, oh, this person's relaxed. We don't need to flip that switch on. And it's through some simple breathing and slow breathing. And what I like to call that is the 5-5-7 breath. It makes it super simple to remember how to do this. And you can just do this simply, quickly before you could do it while you're like getting the lunch ready. Like you're feeling stressed out. Maybe you're sitting at work finishing up a project and you don't have that much time to even make your lunch, let alone eat it. Well, while you're finishing your work, you can even do this 5-5-7 breath. And all it is this. You breathe in slowly for a count of 5, and then you hold your breath for a count of 5. And then slowly let your breath out for a count of 7. And then do that 10 times in a row. And by the time you finish with that, your body is going to be restful. It's going to be relaxed. You're going to have communicated to your body, to your brain, that I'm not stressed out, I'm relaxed, so that then you are in a better position to eat your lunch and have it digest correctly, so that you feel good after you eat your lunch, and so that you are energized from eating your lunch, because the nutrients from your food are going to get in there and be absorbed and assimilated how they need to be. So I encourage you to try this. It's a really great, easy, simple technique to do, and it is super relaxing. And it doesn't just have to be for when you're preparing to eat. You can do this anytime. Anytime you're feeling stressed out and you need to just feel more grounded and more relaxed, just practice the 5-5-7 breath. So just remember 5-5-7, and you're going to remember in 5, hold 5, out 5, or out 7. Sorry about that. 5-5-7. Some other things that you can do as well is to practice mindfulness. And what I mean by that, there was a period of time, and I haven't done this for quite some time, but it was super, super helpful to me, is to practice some meditation. And I know there can be some kind of some thoughts that different ones have about meditation. And all I mean by this is just being mindful of your body and what it feels like. I've talked a lot here about listening to your body. So basically, all you need to do is find a quiet spot. There's even some really great apps that you can get out there, or you could just have some quiet music playing while you do this. I've used an app in the past. Haven't checked it out for a while, so I don't know what they have done with it since, but it's called Calm, C-A-L-M. And there's a free part of that app, and they've even got some guided kind of like meditations to go through to just help you just kind of be with yourself in your body, to learn how to listen to it and learn how to calm it as you need to. And so, just 5 minutes, just kind of sitting there and training yourself not to think about, because your mind will so quickly get scattered and be thinking about this thing and that thing that you have to do. And it will help to pull you back in by going through this and just kind of walking through your body from, head to toe, and just being aware of how it feels, and then what it feels like to actually feel relaxed, so that you're aware of that. Because if we don't even know what it feels like to feel relaxed and be peaceful in our body, then how are we going to very effectively find our way there when we need to, when we're in a stress state? Here's the other thing is if you know what it feels like to feel relaxed, then you're going to recognize the first sign of you being stressed out. You're going to recognize those physiological things that are happening to you that are like, hey, I'm not feeling relaxed. My heart's racing. I am feeling sweaty in my palms. I'm feeling kind of trembly in my body. Whatever it might be in a situation, you're going to recognize it much more quickly if you know what it feels like to have that relaxed, peaceful feeling in your body. The other thing I'd encourage you to do is when you are in a situation where suddenly you're feeling that stressed out feeling and you're feeling yourself slipping into that fight or flight mode, just take a moment and think through the situation in a rational way. And just kind of walk through it like, okay, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? I mean, sometimes when there's a situation like this, granted, we don't have time to hardly sit down and think rationally. But train yourself to do that as quickly as you can, so you can see like, well, maybe I don't even need to respond this way. Maybe I don't need to react in the way that I am. Maybe I don't need to be fearful. Maybe I don't need to be angry. So just kind of go through some of those questions in your mind as quickly as you can to bring yourself where you need to be. And then something I absolutely love is using things like essential oils. Lavender happens to be one of my favorite. You can use this with the 5-5-7 breath, but I mean, you can just smell an oil right from a bottle, or, drop some right in your hand and just simply rub your hands together, and then just take those oils in. And here's the really cool thing is there's so many relaxing oils to begin with, like lavender, chamomile, and a lot of blends out there. I have a favorite blend called Peace and Calming that I like to use. But there's a lot of very calming essential oils that you can use. I mean, you can wear them all the time. Just put them on your chest, your neck, so that you're smelling them on a continual basis to help prevent these kinds of things from happening in the first place. But when you're feeling that stressed out feeling, getting one of those oils and breathing it in is amazing, absolutely wonderful. I just had an experience here a couple weeks ago where I had to have a number of MRIs done, and unfortunately the MRI machine that they used at the facility I went to was one of those closed things. It's kind of like a tube, like you're getting into a a noodle, elbow macaroni. It was terrifying to me because I am very claustrophobic. And I had to have a mask on because they required it there, which, just was more claustrophobic for me. But I took lavender and several other oils and I put them on my face inside my mask. And oh my gosh, they helped so much to calm my body. I actually began to fall asleep on several times while I was in that tube. So it was amazing. So they can be super calming. The other cool thing about the oils is the brain, just with the whole thing of the fight or flight, the area in there that's triggered with emotions to put us where we get into that fight or flight thing can be accessed with essential oils. Essential oils have a huge impact, can have a huge impact on our emotions because they can access that part of the brain. So powerful, and I encourage you to give them a try. They work super well. So what I encourage you to do today, to take from this today, is to, first of all, be aware. Be aware of yourself going into that fight or flight mode. Be aware of it being a thing. And when you go into that, check in with yourself and see, is there something that I'm threatened by here really? Is there something I really need to be running from? If not, you really don't need to be in the fight or flight mode. And then go through some of these things, the practical things that I've given you here to help you to manage that so that you don't find yourself like I was, where I was in a chronic fight or flight mode. It is not good for us physically, emotionally, mentally, any of that. It's really hard to live in that way. So I encourage you to be mindful of this and do what you can to keep yourself out of that area too, because we do not want to feel like we're constantly being chased by a bear. That will affect you. I promise it will. So work to get out of that mode if that's one that you are finding yourself in often, and find yourself more in that peaceful, relaxed state so that your body can function at its best. So I hope you all have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.